Agate Project, I was really excited when I read this bio, because I have a real personal passion for what mining companies can do in Africa in terms of education. And I think if COVID's shown us one thing in the mining industry is the desperate need to educate and upskill our the nationals, because I think, the logistics of getting people around and expats has shown us the importance of that investment. So Mark, I'll read your bio so everyone knows who you are. So Mark is a geologist with nearly 20 years experience working with universities, geological surveys and the international minerals industry in Africa. Together with Dr. Nicolas Chibard and Ms. Corinne Debard, and I'm sure I have not said those names right, they recently founded the Agate Project to support higher education in the earth and planetary sciences in Africa. The goal is to fund graduate students and researchers through scholarships and stipends together and training courses open to all African earth and planetary science professionals, academics and graduate students. Mark has previously worked at Monash University, the University of Toulouse, and is currently based at the University of WA. So I look forward really to hearing what you've got to say today, Mark.
Thanks. And first of all, thank you to PayDirt for having the bravery to put on this meeting. I think it's gone really well, and I think it's been great talking to people. I'd also like to thank the people that are zooming in from wherever they are, and I guess with the time zones whenever they are. I'm going to be talking about the Agate Project, which is, at the moment, it's a fairly small select group of people, myself, Corinne Debard, and Nicolas Thibault. And first of all, I'm going to talk a bit about the logic of why we think this is important, and then I'll give some idea of where we've come from, and then finally, hopefully, where we're going. And I'm going to give you the mineral economics course that you can fit in a fortune cookie. So from the perspective of countries in Africa, a country hosts a resource. We know that. And an international company or a local company wants to extinguish this resource by digging it out of the ground. And the country then has to decide whether the returns that it's getting from this company, compensation by rents, taxes, employment, or more and more by building ports, railways, and roads, is enough to make it worthwhile then extinguish this resource, because once it's gone, it's gone. Everybody knows this. Perhaps what is less well understood is that we face the same challenges as researchers, international researchers coming into developing countries. And so if we talk about international research in Africa, it looks a bit like this. So the country has a scientific problem. It might be where the gold is, or it might be why the granites have got this particular chemistry, or it might be what the age of this mafic intrusion is. They're interesting scientific problems. Every country has them in geology. And as an international researcher coming in, we might be drilling holes. As we can see here, they've actually gone to town on this particular rock. I don't quite know why they needed quite so many holes for this rock, but they did. And the researcher comes in and he wants to solve the problem. If I go to this rock, drill a hole, grind it up, take it off and calculate the age of the rock, within the limits of the techniques we have, we don't need to do that ever again. So we've extinguished a scientific question in this area. So then it's up to the country to decide whether having international researchers coming to their country is going to be compensated by the involvement of local researchers, by access to funds for these researchers, and by the development of research capacity in those countries. So there's an exact parallel between the ethical dilemmas of a researcher going to work in Africa as there are of mining companies going to work in Africa, or anybody else going to another country. And I guess the difference is that our holes that we drill are slightly smaller than the ones that you're going to be drilling. But the fundamental ethical questions are identical. So that logic and that thinking, which I must admit I learned in France when I was working there. I worked for an organization called the IRD, which was a national research lab that worked in, with, and for developing countries. We founded this project called the West African Exploration Initiative. It's a project that's been running for 15 years now, And you can see in that icon cloud in the top right-hand corner, I've made the icons a bit small, but it includes three fundamental groups of organizations. It includes mining companies, from the largest one would be BHP, well, they don't get any larger than BHP, and the smallest one I think was Drake that had a market cap of 20 million, and everything in between. There's geological surveys for the countries in the region, and there's a whole series of universities, both in the region and overseas, working together to produce a whole series of outcomes which are scientific, research outcomes. They're databases that were provided to our industry partners, but there's also the capacity building aspect, and we have trained, getting on, I think by now it's probably actually is 100 graduate students, of which 2/3 are African students. So we're training the next generation of high-level research on the African continent. So this is work that we've been doing, as I said, for 15 years now, and it's an Amara global project, and we're just looking at developing that a bit further. I'll talk about that in a minute. We're looking at the West African Craton, and one of the thing I'm probably most proud of the whole project is the number of people we've trained and the number of Africans we've trained from all over Africa. We've worked with the University of Witwatersrand, so there's a significant number of South African students who are coming to West Africa to do their research studies. And we can see this map here showing all the different places that the student projects were undertaken. We're just starting to ramp up the stage 4 of this project, and it's going to be looking at a whole series of different mineral systems from Archean, Paleoproterozoic, Pan-African, and within the basins with the same logic of integrating research with industry, with the local geological surveys, with the universities, and again with a strong capacity building element. There's going to be a WebEx session coming up in a couple of weeks. If you're interested in knowing more about that, you can contact us afterwards. In terms of the capacity building, the original capacity building work was carried out when, as I said, I was in France with the Institut de Recherche pour le Développement, and that worked very well for the first few years. We then started collaboration with an NGO based in Luxembourg, and they took over that capacity building work. For the fourth stage of WAXI, we decided that it would be more efficient to actually have an NGO dedicated to only to geoscience research and capacity building in Africa. So that's why we set up the Agate Project. And in terms of sustainability, and this has been true from the beginning, one of the reasons we've been able to continuously work in the region over such a long period of time is that we haven't simply gone to a large donor and said, can we have some money to do this wonderful work? Because yes, we have done that, but the reality is that you do that once and great, but when you go back to them a second time, it's often very difficult to get continuing funding. By working with the mining industry, since we started working, the people who are working in West Africa have changed, but there's always someone working in West Africa. There's always somebody that's interested in developing exploration science. There's always somebody that wants their staff trained. So we've come up with a model, I'd have to say more or less by chance, that allows us to continuously develop our research projects and develop our students and develop the staff within the companies. So there's a whole range of different activities that I'll talk about in a minute. And I just wanted to introduce you to you, not one by one, but the types of people that are involved in the Agate Project. They're the 3 people I named at the beginning, but there's also a host of researchers from Africa and also from Europe and Australia, and there's educators like Moro Diego, who works in Burkina Faso in a private training institute. There's Rokhaya Dieng, who works for the Ministry of Mines in Senegal. So we have a whole range of people, and all of these people have been involved in the Agate Project for a very long time, so they understand the logic of it and where we want to go with this. So overall, Agate Project is a not-for-profit company devoted to advancing African earth and planetary sciences. It's supporting African education and research opportunities, and is offering a range of different education opportunities for professionals, researchers, and students in Africa. So the types of activities that we're already undertaking, have been undertaking for 15 years under various different names, is that we organize short courses, and these are technical geoscience short courses, which are open to industry, open to universities, staff and students, open to geological surveys. The way that we've run it is that we charge industry to attend, and we use some of that money to pay for students to attend and for geological surveys to attend. That work will continue. With the new world that we live in now, there's a huge array of online courses that are available to people. And so we have the opportunity to fund students in Africa to attend these online courses. They're usually not free, but we can use some of our resources to pay for those students to enroll in these online courses. And that's a great opportunity that really didn't exist even a year ago. There are research grants and scholarships. So the idea is, as we've been doing in the past with WAXI, we're going to be supporting individual projects, and that might be using the funds that we've raised from these other mechanisms, or we're just setting up a named scholarship with Roxgold at the moment that's going to fund a master's student to work on a Roxgold project, and we think that's a great model where companies can come to us and discuss their needs in terms of research that they think is appropriate for graduate students, and we are familiar with the university system, we're familiar with the researchers, and we can organize that sort of relationship. And then finally, conference support. So there are courses that we've run. Nico's already run a course on structural geology, so sorry you've missed that one, but if you talk to Nico, I'm sure he'd be delighted to run it again. He ran it for a Moroccan company just recently. I'm going to be running a course on interpreting regional geophysics for geology. That's a course that I've been running in West Africa pretty much every other year for the last 15 years, and that will go on. And as I said before, there's the opportunity to support students to attend courses that are being run by other organizations. And this is not really other in the sense that this is a series of short courses being run by the Center for Exploration Targeting, which is where I live for my day job. And so these are a series of courses. They're all going to be online courses. They're all being held deliberately in the late afternoon so that people from all over Asia, Africa, and Europe can be able to attend these online courses. And we're going to fund 10 or 20 students from Africa, probably from West Africa, first of all, because that's our home base, but certainly Agate is not just West Africa, to attend these courses. There's a conference that was actually supposed to run today in Accra that we were planning to run on the tectonics and metallogenesis of West Africa. It's been pushed back for a year, and that will be supported by the Agate Project as well. The grant schemes, we have the first grant scheme open, and we've had a number of applicants already, and those are coming from all over Africa, to support part or all of their research or scholarship requirements, and that's something that we hope we'll be able to grow. So how can we help you guys? We can help you by training the next generation of your staff. We're also involved in training the next generation of people in Africa who will all train your staff. So we're training the trainers in the universities. We can also provide in-house or shared training, and we can act as a bridge between universities and companies that want to set up these named scholarships, such as the upcoming Roxgold Scholarship. You can help as an individual, you can give us money, please do. But you can also help because you know a lot. You can participate by contributing a video about your experiences, about what you know about exploring in Africa. And we can then use that to train people. And as a company, again, organizing in-house training, supporting the projects, sending staff to the training sessions. So I'd just like to thank Pay Dirt again, but all of the other organizations that have supported us in setting up this quite exciting, for us at least, new venture. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mark. That was really great. And I think, my experience is that there's a real deep keenness often, in my experience in West Africa, people wanting to learn. And I think we as big mining companies, and particularly the junior to mid-cap, sometimes struggle to find the capacity to do that. So it's great to hear that there's projects out there that, you can try and leverage, because I think that's what we have to be doing as mining companies in Africa. Last but not least,